I can safely say that painting Jesus Christ in the Garden of Gethsemane was never a painting I ever thought I would do. But when a gentleman approached me about the project, I couldn't say no. And how do you even go about painting something so intense, so sacred? Like so many of my paintings, it started with research and my journal. I read all the accounts in the New Testament, and the takeaway that I got was this was not a polite or clean or easy experience. This was dirty and heavy and hard. We learned that Christ fell on his face. So I thought about being prostrate on the ground. I really had to personally go to my own moments of Gethsemane. And for me, those were the nights I spent pleading for God to save my son's life. And when you pray like that, it's not like you're kneeling all pretty on the ground. It's not like you're sitting in a chair politely with your arms folded. Many of those prayers were offered prostrate on the ground, the floor of my bedroom, the floor of a hospital room. I wrote in my journal, I keep thinking about my long Gethsemane nights as I stood there beside my son's hospital bed, waiting for the storms to pass, counting the hours, the nights I met the Savior there. Because in those lonely moments where everybody was gone and it was just me and my son and he was storming, that's when I felt the closest to God that I've ever felt. That's when the closest I've ever felt to his son. And so I really had to do a lot of emotional work before attempting this painting. And then I have to thank my model, who brought so much to the table himself. What an incredible soul. I wanted Jesus to be sweaty. We know that he sweat, as it were, great drops of blood. But I guess out of respect for my God, I chose not to paint the actual blood dripping from his body, but instead used a scarlet scarf falling from his neck and pulling it across his body as a symbol of the blood that was spilt in Gethsemane. I also used the poppy flower as a symbol of that as well. I actually had the opportunity to visit Israel in April, and I actually did go to the Garden of Gethsemane, and there were poppies there. So I actually used reference from olive trees in the Garden of Gethsemane and poppies from the Garden of Gethsemane in this painting. I believe that we'll all have the opportunity to experience Gethsemane in our own way, that we all will face some trial of the soul that is so deep and so personal that there's only one person that we'll be able to connect with, and that's Jesus Christ. And that we're allowed to have these moments because he wants to connect with us. And so as I worked on this painting, I just really tried to portray my own experience, because I do feel that our Gethsemanes are all different. But I hope it helps remind you that in your own Gethsemanes, you are never alone. That Jesus Christ suffered these things for all, that even in our darkest moments, we never need to be alone.